Chris Robinson, Overflow. Give him a round of applause, huh? Doing a great job for us this morning. Yeah, I mentioned earlier about one of our inductees couldn't make it, 9 months pregnant. I don't think the conference wanted to have two births in the same week. And the reason I say that is we want to say congratulations to Vanessa Blair Lewis and her husband Eric from Bethune-Cookman. They had a baby. The head basketball coach at Bethune, she gave birth to Bryce on Monday afternoon at 1 o'clock. So we want to say congratulations to her and her husband, and to Bryce, 9 pounds, came out as a big boy. We want to continue with our program now. You can continue eating, but as we go forward, as you probably know, we live under the freedom of the United States military that makes it possible for us to be here today and for us to sleep in peace at night. And the United States Marines are one of the organizations of the branch of the military that's here with us today. And we want to bring up Major Paul Smith to present the Excellence in Leadership Award that is presented by the United States Marines. Major Paul Smith.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for allowing us to be here today. My name is Major Paul Smith from the United States Marine Corps, and I'll be presenting the Excellence in Leadership Award. As you know, we in the Marine Corps hold the honors of honor, courage, commitment as our key tenet values. And we hold those near and dear to our heart. Today, by acknowledging some of these individuals who embody that spirit is our great honor, as you could possibly imagine. Of note, this year marks the 100th anniversary of women serving in the United States Marine Corps. As you all know, it's also International Women's Day today, in case you haven't noticed. It's awesome. This morning's Excellence in Leadership Award is very special also, again, as a student athlete, that can be a challenge, as some of us know who've done that, and that's the spirit that we as Marines look for. It embodies what we believe in. So, again, today we're going to honor someone who embodies that and is near, dear, and special to our heart. And without further ado, we have a video for you to watch, please.
In television, we say, take two. All right, let's rewind that. Do it again.
Cue the video. All right, looks like we're having some technical difficulties. We'll have to go back to that.
Charlene Johnson began her memorable career at South Carolina State University as a member of the women's basketball team from 1976 to 1980. In her junior year, Johnson helped the Lady Bulldogs win the 1979 AIAW Division II National Championship. Soon after graduating, she continued her Bulldog pride, giving over 3 decades of service to the university as an administrator. Johnson also served as an assistant coach with the women's basketball program and head coach of the volleyball and women's tennis programs. She was the first woman to serve as a full-time head coach at South Carolina State. In 1986, Johnson was named MEAC Coach of the Year in tennis. 4 years later, in 1990, she claimed the title of MEAC Coach of the Year in volleyball after leading the Lady Bulldogs to their first MEAC championship. In 1998, Johnson was inducted into the South Carolina State Athletic Hall of Fame. Her accomplishments didn't stop there. Johnson also served as the school's Associate Athletics Director, Senior Women Administrator, and twice as the Interim Director of Athletics before being named to the position on a permanent basis in 2004. For 10 years, Johnson served as Director of Athletics at her alma mater, becoming the first woman to serve in that capacity at the school and the first woman to serve as chairperson of the MEAC's Directors of Athletics. Today, Johnson serves as the Vice President of Enrollment Management and Student Services at Voorhees College in Denmark, South Carolina. With an everlasting list of astounding accolades, it is our pleasure to applaud Charlene Johnson as she is inducted into the 2018 MEAC Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Charlene Johnson.
Don't go anywhere, Charlene. You have anything else to say, Major?
I thank you, MEAC, for allowing us to be here today. Congratulations.
We want Charlene to hang in there because, of course, part of the induction ceremony is being presented with her medallion, and her presenter is her husband. He'll be presenting the medallion to Ms. Charlene Johnson. Oh, isn't that nice? Uh-huh. What'd you think when you saw those pictures?
Who did that?
Uh-huh.
I'm out to get you.
Hey, looking good. Looking back over that history and, South Carolina State, you ever dream what's happening today, what happened to you?
Actually, Charlie, no. To be perfectly honest, no. And when I think about being inducted into the Hall of Fame, obviously my family didn't think about it either. We rode up here yesterday and we packed the SUV, and I said earlier in the week, I'm not driving. This is my Hall of Fame. Well, we got all packed up. I ended up in the back with the luggage. So
In the back with the luggage.
In the back
They
with
didn't
the
even
luggage.
take care of you, right?
Absolutely. So now maybe you guys get it. This is the Hall of Fame. Maybe I'll get to ride in the front on the way back home.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, I don't know why you were treated like that anyhow. Hey, what's wrong with you, sir?
It was the kids and the grandson.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right. You were on the football championship subdivision committee for the NCAA, female in that role. What was it like?
Actually, it was really pretty challenging. When you're in that role, and again, you're representing really an HBCU and I guess female at the same time, I really had to make sure that everyone in the room understood that we were a powerhouse as well. Our conference played well in football, and we were to be second to none. So it was an exciting time. Those guys ended up actually being friends of mine.
You left South Carolina State, took a couple years off, decided to just sit home, relax, and all of a sudden you get this call, you wind up going back to work at Voorhees. What made you take on that challenge?
I flunked retirement, didn't really understand how to go through that process, I guess, but I worked with the now president of Voorhees College, Dr. W. Franklin Evans, and he called me up and said, hey, we've got something for you to do down here. I went down there and having a great time.
What do you actually do? What does that role that you have entail?
Do you have time for this?
Okay, go ahead. Game starts at noon. We'll be all right.
I'm the Vice President for Enrollment Management, Student Services, and I'm also the Director of Athletics, and I do windows and floors. I'm available after this to clean up.
Okay. First athletic director on the female side at South Carolina State. What were the biggest challenges you faced being in what is consistently a male-dominated side of the sports? of athletics?
Yeah, at South Carolina State, when I was named athletics director, it really wasn't challenging. I went in there with the understanding I was hired as a coach and not as a female. So every day for me was to try and get better, help our student athletes become better. And in doing so, everything was really a great flow for me.
During the time that you were athletic director, the sports teams enjoyed some success, basketball, football. And what do you feel you contributed to that success that the athletic teams had?
Actually, I spent a lot of time trying to get to know the coaches and our student athletes. And it was important for me as an athletic director to make sure that our student athletes had the things that they needed in order to be successful, as well as our coaches. So when you look back and you look at championships, I really looked at trying to help these student athletes understand that the air was going to come out the ball at some point, and you had to be prepared for life after sports. So for me, it was really trying to make sure everyone understood tomorrow comes and you may not be playing this sport, but you're going to be doing something productive in society.
When they talk about Charlene Johnson down the road years from now, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as someone who cared about the future, of our student athletes. Coming from humble beginnings, my mother passed away in 2013, and I often thought about, well, what would she be thinking right now? And it's ironic that you played that song, Let the Church Say Amen. That was played at her homegoing services. So it let me know that mother is here, she sees her daughter, she understands that maybe she did a pretty good job. And I just thank everybody at South Carolina State, Voorhees, and everyone else that played an important role. My kids sacrificed a lot. And so my husband, my whole family, because I was gone. So hopefully me taking all those trips at South Carolina State and ensuring that hopefully our student athletes, again, turn out to be productive citizens is really what I'm most proud of.
And you can see why she's in the MEAC Hall of Fame. Charlene Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. Our next Hall of Fame inductee, also from South Carolina State, Shartrick Darby. Let's look at his video. Well, now they told me it's not Shartrick, it's going to be Nick Collins from Bethune-Cookman University. Nick Collins, Bethune-Cookman University football.
Nick Collins, known as a ferocious hitter on the Bethune-Cookman football team, was a 3-year starter at free safety and the captain of one of the most successful teams in Wildcat history. Collins earned All-American and first-team All-MEAC honors in 2004 when he led the conference with 6 interceptions for the second straight year. In 2005, Collins was picked in the second round of the NFL draft by the Green Bay Packers. He earned 3 Pro Bowl appearances and returned an interception of a Ben Roethlisberger pass for a touchdown in the Packers' Super Bowl 45 victory over the Steelers. His NFL career was shortened due to a neck injury suffered in the second game of the 2011 season against Carolina. After retiring in 2014, Collins was inducted into the Green Bay Packers Hall of Fame and the Bethune-Cookman Hall of Fame in 2016. He is known as one of the greatest athletes to ever lead a Bethune-Cookman football team. Today, Collins uses his experience and leadership coaching the West Orange Bobcats youth football team in Orlando, Florida. The MEAC recognizes Nick Collins as he is enshrined into the 2018 MEAC Hall of Fame.
Come on up, Nick. And presenting Nick is his wife, Mrs. Andrea Collins. Thank you. There you go, Nick. You play basketball too?
Just a little bit.
I figured you were trying to look like James Hardy.
With the beard, huh?
All right. Three-sport athlete in high school. You did play, in addition to football, you were quarterback, right?
Yes, I was.
Were you as good as Jay?
I don't know. We ran the triple option, so
Okay.
not a lot of passing, but I was pretty decent.
You were in basketball. You also played baseball.
Yes.
Why did you settle on football?
I'd say due to my father introducing the game to me at an early age. But baseball was my passion. Before football came along in my hometown of Cross City, it was just baseball, baseball, baseball. But knowing my father, who was an awesome football player who passed away in 2009, he just introduced me to the game, made me work extra hard to be good at it. And I took it personally, and he always challenged me. And I would say that in Dixie County, where I'm from, he held the rushing record for 25 years. And I came along in 2000 and broke his record. So, like, the drive was just, he always pushed me. He was like, "You're not gonna break my record." And I was like, "Watch." So
There it is, huh?
the rest is history.
How'd you wind up at Bethune?
I think Bethune chose me. Like I said, I had family ties there. My father played at Bethune-Cookman, who was a quarterback there in the early 70s. But I think Bethune chose me. I thought I was one of those kids was going D1 and had it all together. But, God had a different direction for me. And I think Bethune always was open to me and my family. And I just went there with the mindset of just going there and just trying to prove myself that I belong.
You played for Alvin Wyatt, and everybody who remembers Alvin Wyatt, he was a fashion plate on the sideline. In fact, back in the early 70s, I believe they went to the NCAAs. He was a women's basketball coach.
Right.
He wore a full-length mink coat, white, to the game, to the championship game. But let me ask you this about him. Now, after a big win, and I've done a lot of those games when the team would always try to give him a Gatorade bath, did he have an edict that says if he gets wet that you all wouldn't play anymore?
Yeah, he taking scholarships. That was his thing. He was like, if I get Gatorade on my nice suit, my linen suit, you losing your scholarship.
I knew, and you all tried.
Nah, we ain't. Hey, everybody was there to, play football. They wasn't like, I need my scholarship. I can't go back home. If I go back home without a scholarship, man,
It's all over, right?
It's over, yeah.
Now, you're a Florida kid, played college in Florida. You go to the NFL, and where do you wind up? Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Green Bay, Wisconsin.
The coldest place on earth. That's where the Ice Bowl was played.
Frozen tundra.
The frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. Tell me about that. What was it like? What did you think when Green Bay drafted you?
Surprise. And my wife had something to do with that because she jinxed me.
Okay.
And said I was going to Green Bay. And sure enough, I went to Green Bay. But going up there, I was like shocked because it's just a small little town. And as I'm getting off the plane, get to the cab, and going to the stadium, you go through this neighborhood, and all of a sudden this big stadium come out of nowhere. You be like, okay, I guess this is where I'm playing. And but the fan base there and the community there is pretty awesome. It took a while for them to accept me because I come from a black college, small school. Like, this guy don't know how to play football. So I always, like I said, I had something to prove. I had a chip on my shoulder and show them that I belong. And but when I got just the feeling you get when you get to the stadium, all the legends, all the history you know about Green Bay Packers, and I was fortunate enough to play with some of the best athletes in the world. So I'm just grateful that I had the opportunity.
You suffered a severe neck injury in 2011. How scary was that for you?
Very scary. Probably one of the most scariest times of my life. Just, out there, being in this, trying to make a play, been in that position 1,000 times. And unfortunately, I guess that time was that time where I just had the neck injury, my neck snapped back and hit the ground, tried to get up, and I was like, hold up, I'm numb. And, but I had belief that I was gonna be able to get up, walk again, play again, and all that. But I didn't play again, but I was able to leave that field knowing I will still be able to walk around with my kids, be there for my wife and my family. So that was the blessing part of that situation.
As a defensive back, of course, rules in the National Football League or in professional sports or even collegiate sports are aimed at putting points on the board. Defensive backs don't want those points. Now the league is talking about making some changes on the pass interference rule. I'm sure as a defensive back, you're all in favor of it. They want to make it like the college, where it's a 15-yard penalty as opposed to a spot foul where the interference penalty occurs. Your thought?
Right, I think that's how it should be. The pass
I said
interference.
that. You're a defensive back. That's why.
It should be a spot foul. It should be 15-yard penalty, line up, play another snap. But sometimes that's how the game in the NFL is won. But just because of a Hail Mary, pass interference, they spot the ball on the 2-yard line and the other team score and wins the game. So I just think as a defensive guy, you at a disadvantage. And I understand the NFL is all about the excitement. A lot of fans want points on the board. But as a defensive guy, you like, we ain't trying to have that. Our job is to stop teams from getting points.
You have 5 kids, 4 boys, and your only boy's names start with the letter N. Why?
That's just something me and my wife came up with. All our initials is the same, NCC. You know, we got Cardell, Cordell. What's the other one?
You're running out of it. I knew you were going to forget somewhere.
Chase and Chaz. Chaz, my bad, Chaz. And what else? Cordell?
You know you got to go home.
Yeah. It's too many NCCs. So.
Too many NCCs.
But yeah, all our initials are the same.
Well, you're not, you know, if you name them all, what was the boxer name? He named all his kids the same thing?
George. Yeah.
You named them all George, you wouldn't forget, right?
Nah, yeah. No.
Your last college game, what do you remember most about it?
My last college game, playing against FAM, going in, overtime, down by, I want to say 20-some points, going into the fourth quarter. Had to make a comeback to try to win the game. We was able to do it, and I was able to make a game-changing interception in that game as well, play in that game as well. And the rest is history. I think that was the most exciting game I ever been a part of because you had this rivalry. Both teams is out there trying to prove who's the best team in Florida, black college team in Florida, and we was able to walk away with that victory.
What does it mean to be in the MEAC Hall of Fame?
This is huge. I think just here to represent the black college and that I'm black as well. It have nothing to do with any race, and it's just represent black success. I think that's the most important. You know, we can go anywhere and be successful. We just got to believe in it, trust it, and trust the process, and the rest is history.
All right, Nick Collins, congratulations. 2018 Hall of Fame. Appreciate it. Our next inductee, 2018 MEAC Hall of Fame from South Carolina State, Shartrick Darby.
Shartrick Chuck Darby is hailed as one of the best defensive players in South Carolina State football history. A 4-year starter between 1994 and 1997, he was named first team All-MEAC and All-American by the Sporting News and the Sheraton Broadcasting Network from 1996 to 1997. The Bulldogs went a combined 29-15, including a 10-2 mark in 1994, after defeating Grambling State in the Heritage Bowl and claiming the title as the Black College National Champion. After recording 5 sacks, Darby was named the Heritage Bowl Defensive Player of the Game. In 2001, Darby signed as a free agent with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, spending 4 seasons with the team while beating Oakland in Super Bowl 37. During an 11-year NFL career, Darby also played for the Seattle Seahawks and the Detroit Lions. He was inducted into the South Carolina State Athletic Hall of Fame in 2006, and a year later named to the Bulldogs Centennial football team. Today, Darby has established the New Horizon Youth Foundation, which focuses on preparing the youth in his community for college. The MEAC congratulates Chartrick Chuck Darby on all of his success as he is inducted into the 2018 MEAC Hall of Fame.
And Chartrick's presenter, his wife, Miss Charlotte Darby. Go. How you doing?
Doing good, doing good.
Looking well.
Just trying to make it happen.
You here, right?
Oh, yeah.
What made you stay close to home out of North High School and attend South Carolina State?
I tell you what, coming from a little small town, north, you know, it wasn't a lot of scholarships out there. But, you know, South Carolina State gave me the opportunity to be me. So I ended up going to South Carolina State, but the biggest thing is my uncle played there. You know, my mom and dad was there. They was able to see me play, and my brother and sisters were there. But it was a true blessing.
You played for Coach Willie Jeffries, and anybody who knows Coach Jeffries, who's a Hall of Famer here in the MEAC, knows he likes to tell jokes every time he sees you. Now, let me tell you from a player standpoint of view, as a team, did he do the same thing with you guys?
Oh, he did the same thing. I mean, his favorite saying to me is, "Buzz head, you gotta." He told me my head was big enough, was that big, I should be able to play football. So he always called me Buzz head.
Buzz head.
Buzz head.
All right, so I knew he had something for you.
Yeah, that's something else.
What and how did your time at South Carolina State mold you into the person you are today?
I mean, I tell you what, you know, being able to go out there and go through it one day at a time, go through the grind. And, just listening to Coach Jeffries, Coach George Wheeler, Coach Blacknell, playing with my brothers. I got one of my brothers out there right now, Jermaine Derricott. I mean, it was just a true blessing. I mean, it gave me that foundation. It gave me that purpose and will to know that I could do anything in life if I take it one day at a time.
One of the biggest games you had as a Bulldog was playing in that Heritage Bowl against Grambling State University. You were named the Defensive Player of the Game. What do you remember most about it?
Well, that Grambling game was a tough game. I mean, that was a game I will always remember. One of the other games I remember was the one we played against Southern also. But I tell you what, it was a great game. I had opportunities to see two of the greatest coaches that ever coached in black college history.
Eddie Robinson and, of course,
Eddie
Willie
Robinson
Jeffries.
and legendary Coach Jeffries.
Yes,
my man.
indeed. Now, after college, you didn't go right to the NFL. You went to Barcelona.
Well, after college, I went to a lot of people don't know. That first after college, I went to the Baltimore Ravens.
And then wound up in
And
Baltimore.
then I went, because then I got released, and then I ended up going to NFL Europe, playing for Barcelona. I had to prove myself that I wasn't too short to play in this game.
What was that experience like, having to go out of the country to try to prove that you belong?
I mean, it was real tough, because I had to leave my kids, leave my wife, leave my family. It was a tough moment, but I knew I had to do whatever it takes to get on top. I mean, my whole career, everybody always say I was too short, and me getting an opportunity to go over there and play in Barcelona made me establish myself as a person. I'm letting everybody know that it's all about what's in here. You know, my heart is 7 feet tall, 7 feet wide. There's only one being in the world can tell me what I can't do. Well, it's two beings, you know what I'm saying? The good man upstairs and my pops. That's pretty much it.
He looked down on you, making sure, right? Yes. Always looking out for you. After that year in Barcelona, you came back, signed with Tampa Bay, got a Super Bowl ring from Tampa, then went to Seattle, got a Super Bowl ring from Seattle. You have 2 Super Bowl rings. You have more Super Bowl rings than some people ever dream of, right?
That's a true blessing. I got one. Well, I went to 2 Super Bowls.
You played in 2 Super Bowls.
I played in 2 Super Bowls. I got one, and unfortunately, I lost one to Pittsburgh. That's a game that got a bitter taste in my mouth because that game should have went the other way. But
what happened?
The Zebras was on their side.
The who?
The Zebras. The
Why would you blame the referee?
I mean,
why would you blame the referee? Did you all turn the ball over?
We didn't turn it over that many times.
That many times? That's too many. That's too many.
But
that many times is too many.
Yeah, they also took a lot of touchdowns away.
They took a lot of touchdowns away because you all committed penalties.
We deserve it. We deserve it.
Yeah. You shouldn't have been holding.
Yeah, I still hold a grudge on that game. Bitter taste.
You have a foundation that you have established. Talk about that foundation and what it means and what it's doing.
The name of the foundation is New Horizon Vision of Youth. And the vision is to reach out to all these kids in the world, to give them that guidance, to educate them, to let them know they can be anything they can be, anything they want to be in life. I mean, now you can be the President of the United States. It's proven. You know, all before then, that could have never happened.
Yeah, it is proven.
Yeah, it's proven. It's a moment. But, just getting them situated and getting them ready for college and let them know they can be anything they want to be. You got to take it one day at a time. And the sky's the limit.
All right, Chartrick Darby, 2018 MEAC Hall of Fame. Congratulations. Good seeing you. Our next inductee, 2018 MEAC Hall of Fame, the Sky, Jay Walker.
Jay Walker is one of the most prolific football names in Howard University history. After transferring to the Bison from Long Beach State, Walker was a 2-time first-team All-MEAC selection and the conference's Offensive Player of the Year in 1993. That season, the Bison went undefeated, winning the MEAC and Black College National Championships. Walker threw for 3,324 yards, which ranks as the second highest single-season total, and his 223 completions ranks 5th in MEAC history. He also threw 24 touchdown passes in 1993, tying for 7th highest single-season total in MEAC history. In 1994, Walker was a 7th-round draft pick by the New England Patriots. He played in the National Football League for 4 seasons, 2 with the New England Patriots and 2 with the Minnesota Vikings. In 2005, Howard University praised his football career by inducting him into the Athletic Hall of Fame. Today, Walker serves on the Maryland House of Delegates and currently works as a college football analyst on ESPN. The Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference highlights Jay Walker as he is enshrined into the 2018 MEAC Hall of Fame.
Jay Walker being presented by his wife, Monique. It's like we're in familiar tag team again, right?
Yeah, it's like riding a bike. We haven't ridden this bike in a long time, but I still know how to ride it.
Sky, how'd you get that name?
Skywalker, a lot of people don't know this. I lost my very first college football start at Howard University. They were ready to chase me out of school. They had all this publicity talking about the new transfer quarterback was going to do this and that. So the name could have been a lot different than Sky. but in my very first home game at Howard, I threw 6 touchdowns in the first half. And then after throwing 6 touchdowns and kind of quieting some of the naysayers, the very next week, my nemesis, rest in peace, Aaron McNair was coming to town. And so there was a build-up. Ed Hill and Coach Wilson came up with it's going to be the Sky versus the Air show, and the rest is history.
That's how it came about. You came from Long Beach State,
Yeah.
at which they had disbanded football. George Allen was the coach, the former Redskin coach out there at the time. How'd you wind up all the way across country, 3,000 miles away in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, it was just ironic. It's I like what Nick said earlier, how Bethune-Cookman chose him. It's like Howard chose me. I was being looked at by a lot of schools. It was a meat market. I narrowed it down. I went to Louisville the week before I went to Howard and gave them a verbal commitment. But I promised them that I would go to Howard because I promised my mom that. Coach Wilson had been talking to my mom, and my mom said, well, I know you think you want to go to Louisville, but all I know is Howard costs a lot of money, and this coach has been calling here every day. Pardon my French, but she said, your black behind at least going to go see her. And I took that trip and met up with the boys, and Neil Downing was my host, and he lied to me about everything. But they gave me a vision. And Coach Wilson, I owe it to him. He really sold me. He said, if you do the things that you're capable of doing here, there's no better institution for you to do it at than Howard University. I wanted to be a lawyer in Washington, D.C., and the president at the time, Dr. Jennifer, told me that Howard University at that time was the largest thing that African Americans owned. And that just stuck with me. And when I got on the plane, I just said it just felt right. It just felt right, and I chose Howard University.
And I think I met you on that recruiting trip.
I met Charlie Neal. I came down to BET. Mm-hmm. And Charlie was a man down there at BET, y'all know. Y'all know Charlie.
I did a number of your games while you were at Howard University, and one of the ones that the A&T fans will always remember. How do you go to A&T now? You know, you spoil their homecoming.
Yeah.
Game tied. Was the last play, were they in overtime?
Yeah, first play in overtime.
The first play in overtime, and you ran it in on a quarterback sneak, and the place was packed. The people were standing out on the street, on the track, everywhere. You had to run through the crowd to get into the end zone, didn't you?
I did. You know, like me and my boys, you know, what we like to say over the years, you know, we just kind of made it our homecoming. You know, Howard's known for homecoming, so we just took our homecoming on the road and ruined theirs. But it was a great game. You know, when you look back on that, you know, so many people say they were at that game, but the stadium only holds like 25,000. And over my lifetime, I must have had like 25,000 people say, I was at that game. And I'm like, yeah, sure you were. But no, it was an iconic moment, and it was, you know, one of those things. But what you look back on, everybody remembers a quarterback sneak for, you know, 25 yards to win it. I'm a quarterback, man. I threw for 440 yards on the Aggies. That's what I want credit for, that 440. The 25 yards, hey, that didn't get me drafted, but it was throwing that ball all over there that did.
Jay brought his linemen with him. Some of those linemen stand up over there.
Munoz, my Bison boys are here. We
Bison
got
boy.
Big Munoz. We got my tight end, Dave Sierra. Tony Richard, D lineman. Rob Winters, call him Soup Bone.
Now, if you look, now, hold up. Now, you look at them and you look at Jay. Who was the lineman?
I knew where you were going. Stand up, Reese. Stand up, Reese. Don't you laugh. Don't you laugh, Reese.
Couldn't resist it.
It's all right.
You spent 2 years in New England, pre-Brady, pre-Belichick. At that time, it was Bledsoe, Bill Parcells. Talk about the organization and what it was like back then, the New England Patriots.
You knew where you stood. You know, Parcells was one of the big influences I had in my life. You know, I remember when I was in training camp and, you know, they had this little thing. Parcells told all the rookies, hey, I don't want to meet your mom and dad, because if I have to cut you, I don't want that on my mind. And you're like, wow, okay. And then he said, I'm a grown man. If I want to meet your parents, I'll meet them. And then I played 2 successful preseason games, and Parcells was walking around, and he comes and he kind of kicks me as I'm stretching, and he says, hey, he called me Jay Howard. He said, Jay Howard, is that your old man over there? And I said, yeah. And he said, I'll make sure I meet him after practice. And all the veterans are like, you just made the team, dog. and that's what it was. But, you know, you knew where you stood. I mean, he told all of us, hey, if you don't pass a conditioning test, I'm going to cut you. And he said, Willie McGinnis, you're the first round pick. If you don't pass conditioning test, you're only going to play on third downs. So we weren't going to cut Willie, but you appreciate that because he let you know where you stood. And that's all you want is an honest, fair chance and to know where you are.
You have a career that a lot of people dream of. A lot of different things have happened with you. Start with the broadcasting side of it. What got you interested in that?
Some guy, this little skinny brown-skinned guy with a deep voice, called me up at the last minute and said I could do a game in Mobile, Alabama. My very first game, I did it with Charlie Neal. And at the time, I really only did the job because I had one of my roommates from Mobile, Alabama, Kevin Lee, was in that city. And I said, oh, this would be a great chance to go see Kevin and talk a little football. And I was so bad at it. I was so bad at it that I became competitive. And my competitive nature, and I said, just give me another chance. Give me one more chance so I can redeem myself. And you saw something in me, Coach Wilson saw something in me, then the networks, and I just practiced it. And it's been a journey that I never could have ever imagined would go this far.
Now, all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but you also are into politics as a delegate in the state of Maryland. In fact, he didn't get in until late last night because they're having they're in session right now up there in Annapolis, Maryland. And let me just say this real quick. Monique is getting ready to get into politics, his wife. There he is. So it's going to be a Barack and Michelle show. No. Just a light-skinned version, okay? But talk about your interest in politics and what made you go that route.
Well, it's going to sound like a cocky statement, but that's why you go to Howard University, son. At Howard University, it's always you have to be more than just a student, an athlete. So I had teachers tell me, if you're going to throw 4 touchdowns on Saturday, you better be in class on Monday. And it's the Howard thing that instilled me. Dr. Alvin Thornton had a big influence on me. You go to school in the most powerful city in the world. It's a political campus. And like I said, I grew up seeing guys like Tom Bradley, the mayor of LA, when I was out in California. And, I got challenged and somebody said, I started thinking, because ESPN had offered me a nice job, and it really didn't matter where I lived at that time. And somebody asked me to run for office because of my foundation work I did. And I told them no at first. And then I said, man, if I don't do this for the rest of my life, I'm going to say what if. And you never want to have that. I never want to say what if. So we ran for office and we won. And just like my undefeated season at Howard, we're still undefeated, haven't lost an election yet. Knock on wood. And just doing the good for the people out there, And I think when you play quarterback, there's a certain leadership skill that you have to have. And now that I'm in politics, it's the same thing. It's the locker room. It's the locker room all over. When you play in the locker room, the offensive linemen kind of have their clique. The DBs, those party boys, they like to have their little clique. And then the running backs, you see? And then you got to bring it all together. You got the southern guys, and you got the rural guys, and the urban guys, and city guys. Well, the MEAC and playing pro football and college football has prepared me for my next journey in life. And I think that's why I've had some success.
Where do you want to go in terms of your political career?
I want Monique Anderson Walker to win, and she can take over. I'm not going to be a career politician. It's been good. I've had opportunities, but I think it's just something where do what's good for your people, and then let somebody else have the opportunity.
2 years at Howard University, MEAC Hall of Fame. What does it mean?
Well, it just means a lot. I say first and foremost, this is for my team. The 1993 Bison. We did some great things out there. We were undefeated. It's just, so when I was thinking about it all, and I was just like, wow, how did I end up here? And, I've been blessed, playing minor league baseball first and then transferring to Howard University and making the best decision of my life by going to Howard. And just doing so, it's never thought, you get here. You always dreamt about it. You dreamt if you go to Howard, would they draft a black quarterback from a black college? And I was the last guy to ever be drafted out the MEAC to play quarterback. I've done a lot of good things in my life, and I've been fortunate. My mom and dad had a lot to do with it. Like I said, it's my teammates. And while the MEAC is choosing to honor me today, when I got inducted to the Howard Hall of Fame, I said, and I think it still holds true, you guys are choosing to honor me today, but I try to honor the MEAC and all HBCU football every week when I'm doing the HBCU broadcasts.
Very good. Jay Walker, ladies and gentlemen. MEAC Hall of Fame 2018. Our last inductee, we want to look at a video of Janina Lee from Morgan State University.
Janina Lee is one of the most dominant middle hitters in MEAC volleyball history. Her collegiate career at Morgan State kicked off in 1994, and in 1995, Lee was named first team All-MEAC. In 1995, Lee's leadership skills skyrocketed as she led the Lady Bears to the MEAC championship match. After compiling 8 kills and 12 digs in the final match, Lee was selected to the MEAC All-Tournament team and named the most outstanding performer. Continuing to build Morgan State's volleyball excellence, Lee's team became the first HBCU to earn a spot in the NCAA Division I volleyball tournament after defeating Grambling State in the play-in match in 1997. After a strong recovery from an injury, Lee helped lead Morgan State to its second MEAC title in 1998 while earning her 3rd career first-team All-MEAC and All-Tournament team honors. Lee closed out her volleyball career amongst Morgan State's all-time leaders with 512 blocks, 236 service aces, and 921 digs. Today, Ms. Lee lives in New York, working as a freelance beauty and makeup artist. Lee has had the opportunity to work with well-known celebrities such as Whitney Houston, President Barack Obama, as well as working on popular television shows such as Law & Order, SVU, The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and Access Hollywood. She attributes all her athletic and career success to a praying mother and her personal faith in God. The MEAC congratulates Janina Lee on all of her success as she is inducted into the 2018 MEAC Hall of Fame.
And of course, we have said that Janina will not be here, but we want to recognize her.
It is so bittersweet to accept this honor to be inducted into the MEAC Hall of Fame today. While every part of me wants to be there with you, this future Hall of Famer, who is due any day now, had other plans. Couple that with the winter storm hitting the area, my heart is there with you, but physically I cannot be. I want to thank Commissioner Thomas, the selection committee, and the Morgan State University Athletic Department for nominating me for this prestigious award. Of course, I couldn't have accomplished any of this without my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, so to him I owe all the glory. Next, I want to thank Coach Bozier, who is there to accept the award on my behalf. Thank you, Coach, for pushing me to be the best every day during my time as a Morgan Honey Bear. I want to thank my teammates who allowed me to excel on the court. We accomplished historic achievements together that would be a part of my most cherished memories for a lifetime. Especially being the first HBCU volleyball program to qualify and play in the NCAA tournament. Do you know how incredible that was? My years at Morgan State University were some of the best years of my life, as not only was I able to achieve athletically, I discovered my passion to work in the entertainment industry. I met my husband and lighting director and videographer and cue card holder. He's doing it all behind the camera, so I thank him very much. I was able to play in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference in both volleyball and softball, and the fact that I would be in the Hall of Fame along some of the most accomplished athletes in history is something that I will treasure for the rest of my life. Thank you again for this tremendous honor, and congratulations to all my fellow honorees. God bless you. Ooh-ay.
Janina Lee, ladies and gentlemen. Now to have the enshrinement ceremony, we bring to the microphone Carla Lester, who is the president of the MEAC Delegates Assembly. We have all the inductees come up.
Good morning. Would Commissioner Dennis Thomas please join me at the podium? And the candidates for induction into the Hall of Fame, would you please come to the stage? It has been said that excellence is not a skill, but an attitude. That because we are what we repeatedly do, excellence therefore is not an act, but a habit. Excellence is never an accident. It is the result of high intention, sincere effort, intelligent direction, skillful execution, and the vision to see obstacles as opportunities. Today we celebrate and honor your attitude and achievement in excellence. By the power vested in me as the president of the MEAC Delegate Assembly, I now induct each of you as members of the 2018 Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Thank you, Ms. Lester. And now to close out today's activities, are you going to give those out now or are you going to talk first? You want to talk first? Dr. Dennis Thomas, a commissioner of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, longtime friend. You know, he used to be a football coach. A lot of people forget that. That's when I first met Dr. Thomas in 1980. He was a defensive coordinator for Alcorn State University. They had this great defense. Marino Cassim was the head coach at the time down there, and they called it the tunnel defense. They said you can go in the tunnel, but you're not going to come out.
Thanks, Charlie. Hold on a minute, Charlie. Charlie's been in the business a long time. As you can see, 1980, at that time in 1980, Charlie was 65 years old. He aged well. But every time we've called upon Charlie to lend a hand, he's always there. And anything we've ever asked him to do as a conference, he's always well prepared, a consummate professional, and we can't get any better than Charlie Neal. So Charlie, thank you very much for doing another great job. Absolutely. The leadership of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference is tremendous, and I want you all to recognize the leadership of our conference. The directors of athletics of the MEAC conference, I'd like for you all to stand and be recognized at this time. Let's give the directors of athletics a round of applause, please. The senior women's administrators that are here today, please stand as well and be recognized. The faculty athletic representatives are here as well and part of the Delegate Assembly. Please stand and be recognized. Give them a round of applause. Also, again, I want to thank all of our corporate partners. You mean so much to us. Without you, it would be very difficult for us to do a lot of things that we do. So I want to thank all of our corporate partners for being with us today. Also, I have dear friends here as well. You met Felix Bigham, who set the invocation, but his lovely wife, Tony. please stand as well. I want to recognize Tony, please. Tony. Also, dear friends that are here today, Ezel and Coach Bibbs, Pat Bibbs, served in our conference, worked at women's basketball coach, head coach at North Carolina A&T State University, Hampton University, and Grambling State University. She won championships at all three places. Coach Bibbs and Ezel Bill, please stand and be recognized as well. Okay, we have the games starting today at 12 noon, and we encourage all of you to come out. It's been an outstanding tournament, and as with all tournaments, March Madness, you never know what's going to happen, and a lot of things happened from Monday to last night, so it's great basketball that's being played. Please come out the rest of the Thursday, Friday, and Championship Day on Saturdays. At this time, we want to thank all of you for coming out, and the 2018 class of tremendous former MEAC student athletes. Congratulations again. Godspeed. This is now adjourned. Thank you.